Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam, returning once again to talk this time about the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. Joining me to discuss the opening two episodes of the Amazon original series, it's my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Hey man, we're back.
We are. How you doing, mate?
I am good, sir. How are you?
Yes. One shade above average, but that's an improvement.
Hey, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
This is our show discussing Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. It's an Amazon original show, which I think of any show ever in the history of the world, this has been eyes on, hyped. I don't know if hype's the right word, but just the scale of the show, knowing that this is a Jeff Bezos pet project that he basically just went, give me a figure and have the money.
Something crazy like 250 million.
Mate, it's more than that. It's far,
that was just to get the rights.
Yeah. We're talking a total spend apparently on season one of near £1 billion.
Yeah.
That's there's not going to be a TV show ever like it. I mean, certainly not in my lifetime, I can imagine. It's insane.
Crazy money.
It is crazy. And it is but then I suppose if you're that rich and you're a Lord of the Rings fan, I now own a TV studio. I want this. Make it happen.
Yeah, true. I mean, if I was a multi-billionaire, I would probably cast myself in a Marvel film and have them make it around me. Because I'd be able to afford it, so I can understand.
Forgetting the fact that Jeff Bezos basically looks like the world's greatest supervillain, and just focusing purely on the show, then we do have two episodes. Episodes 1 and 2 dropped at the same time for us all to watch. Yep. And the titles of let's do it one by one. The title of episode 1 was
A Shadow of the Past.
And the title of episode 2 was
Adrift.
Well done. Excellent work.
Good old IMDb.
Yeah, I was going to say, almost like you have something loaded up in front of you to help you with this.
The joys of having two monitors.
Yeah, so first of all, we have two episodes we're going to discuss. Season 1 is 8 episodes in total. Episode 3, I believe it's every Friday. I think it's the 9th.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's the 9th. The USA get it slightly ahead of the UK and the rest of the world. But yeah, so it's the 9th for the next episode. So it is every Friday. And the show already confirmed, renewed for a season 2.
Apparently, speculation is it is a 5-season show.
Yeah.
That is the plan.
Yeah.
That's you think about £1 billion per season. This is a hell of a project.
It is. I mean, I have no idea because of, basically I don't have the knowledge, but I've got no idea if the spend, like for example, is that spend massive because you have to hire locations, you have to build these incredible sets and CGI. So for example, would season 2 cost the same? Do you see what I mean? It's like once you've kind of outlaid all of this, does that mean the season 2 would only come in at, a measly 500 million or something? I have no idea. I mean, it's
because they're filming it over in New Zealand again, aren't they? So they've basically just hired half of New Zealand.
And
I would like to rent this much of your country, please, to make a show.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think...
Amazon. Go on then.
Yeah, all right. I like the idea of there being some like small town there that's got this perfect location, and Amazon have shown up and gone, hey, we want to shoot you. And the small town council's like 5 guys. Hey, they want to shoot a film here, mate. Yeah. And it's kind of like, tell them it's going to be 100 million. No one would go for that. Tell them, see what they say. they said yes. just,
Yeah.
just absolutely, some small town in New Zealand has just rinsed Amazon and are laughing.
Loving life, yeah.
Yeah, there's currently a population of a town of like 500 all driving around in Bentleys. But anyway, enough of my stupid frivolity. We do have episodes to talk about. Now, the first thing I want to say about this is I read the book Lord of the Rings. I have read The Hobbit. I read a few kind of additional books as well, but I read them as a teenager. My late teens, the movies came out, the Peter Jackson trilogy, and then obviously then the Hobbit trilogy sometime later. I want to do this podcast.
Oh, you're old.
Yeah, all right, shut up. So I want to do this podcast from the point of view of the films and the TV show, not from the point of view of the books. There are some incredible, and I mean incredible, content creators out there on podcasts, on YouTube channels, TikTok, who know the lore and the history of Middle-earth as if it was the history of a real place. Yeah. And these content creators can give you in-depth knowledge, which I will never be able to do. But I want to talk about on this podcast from an entertainment point of view, from the films, and just linking it in on a far more less detailed level. So if you are looking for that level of detail and that level of input, then drop me a message. I'll put you in touch with a few other content creators. I'm hoping, because our audience generally is more of the kind of talk about the entertainment factor, is that that's where we're going to be. From your point of view, I don't know, have you read the books, or have you obviously watched the films? Where are you coming from?
I come into this as I haven't read the books.
Okay.
I have watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yep.
I have not seen The Hobbit.
Oh, okay.
As a kid, I loved the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, brilliant movies.
Must admit, haven't seen them for quite a while. But loved
they are epics. They are long.
That was the thing. And then when The Hobbit came out, I was at work and had life stuff. So these massive long movies coming out at the time was kind of like, I haven't got the time to sit down and indulge in all this. And then life has kind of happened, and I've never actually got round to going back and watching The Hobbit. I will do it
when you get a chance. Life, but I mean, they are on Amazon. They are on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
When you get a chance, they are good films. They are not, for me, the Hobbit trilogy is a excuse to make a trilogy, which may sound disparaging to it. They are 3 good films, but it didn't need to be a trilogy, if that makes sense. You could have made one excellent 3-hour epic movie of the Hobbit, but they wanted another trilogy, so that's what they did.
I'm a big fan of the lead character actor, so I'm like, I should enjoy it.
I think you would. So the Shadow of the Past, Adrift. I mean, I've basically just bullet pointed certain things. Because, like I said, we're not going to go into insane detail. But one of the things about this show, and I guess my expectation going into it, with knowing the amount of money spent, this show's going to look good, and I was not let down at all. I felt that visually, in every aspect, it is stunning. Well, but I've gone online and there's people moaning about CGI, and I'm like, really?
Well,
I'm watching this and I'm blown away.
Visually, it is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I'm aware that it was probably quite difficult to get a snow troll to agree to come on camera. They're not the most beautiful of things, so CGI might have been needed somewhere, maybe.
See, is that what people are moaning about?
But I don't know. Like, I haven't seen anything. Like, we've seen an orc, we've seen a snow troll, we've seen these wolf characters. I've not looked at any of them and gone, oh, that's obviously CGI. Like, it's CGI. Like, there is no such thing as a snow troll. But it's not looked fuzzy around the edges or like it's on a green screen or something.
Or it's a cartoon. Yeah.
Like, being just quickly jumping away from Lord of the Rings. We're watching another show at the moment, which is a Marvel show that's going on. And there's been times in that where I've actually looked at the lead character and gone, oh, that's not amazing. Yet on this, they're making snow trolls and things like that look visually brilliant. So I'm not entirely sure what they're complaining about.
No, I think it's a complaint for complaint's sake, perhaps. I think the sheer scale of the show, the sheer cost, and everybody knows it. I think there is almost like a built-in agenda of, well, I'm just not going to like this.
Oh, no, there is, because Amazon have had to pause the ratings of it because they were getting trolled. They were getting trolled. They've actually had to pause you being able to rate the show because people were just giving it 1 stars with really stupid comments. And it's like, why do it? Like, I will put my hands up and say at the beginning of the podcast, we're 2 episodes in and I am not fully in yet. Yeah, I know they say normally they say give it 3 episodes, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm 2 episodes in, and if I'm completely honest, I think House of Dragon, which they're kind of up against with the releasing of it, I think House of Dragon is winning at the moment. And obviously that is like their direct competitor. But at the same time, I've seen enough in these first 2 episodes so that on Friday I will watch episode 3, and I will carry on getting into the story and stuff. But I'm not going to sit there and start giving it 1-star ratings because, the trailer made it look a lot more exciting than it actually is. Which is an actual review I've seen.
Well, I love that. I always love the idea that you're going to sit down and watch an hour episode of a show. So 2 episodes, basically 2 hours. So a movie, in essence.
Yeah, just over, because they're 68-odd minute long, yeah.
But a trailer made up of parts from 8 episodes made it look more action-packed than it actually is. Trailer being, 2 minutes?
The official trailer is 1 minute 27 seconds.
There you go.
Yeah, and people are complaining because the trailer made it look more exciting. Well, of course it did. Like, the trailer shows you the best bits to get you drawn in. That's the whole point of a trailer.
The idea is, I mean, you're not going to have... You didn't have, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. The trailer did not focus on a meeting and a discussion at Elrond Tower. It just... But anyway, I digress. It opens with basically telling us the story of the great evil before Sauron, sorry.
Yep.
And the elves in their Undying Lands are attacked, and then they move to Middle-earth to basically take the fight to the evil. What I found quite interesting in the storytelling of this is obviously elves are in essence immortal. They live for thousands and thousands of years. So they're talking about this war raging, and it's raged for centuries. Like I think they mention it's like 2 centuries have passed, so 200 years from them coming to Middle-earth. And basically they won this battle, although the battle was insane. Some of the visuals for that were phenomenal. They won this battle, and that allowed them, or basically the evil appeared to vanish. And they had all these kind of like fortresses, watchtowers, walls and stuff, and they kind of patrolled Middle-earth, waiting for the evil to re-emerge, and it just didn't. Time had marched on. But the character that we're kind of following is a female lead called Galadriel. I'm possibly saying that wrong. Galadriel.
Mate, you're saying it better than I would. I've spent the whole morning going Galadriel.
Galadriel. I mean, I love it. Now, one of the funniest things about this character, is we see a lovely scene of her with her older brother when she's slightly younger. It's a really lovely scene. And then following this kind of story, we learn that her older brother was one of the key warriors who went to fight to hunt down this evil, and he was killed. And she made the decision that she would continue his quest.
Yep.
Sort of taking his blade, and that was it. She was going to continue. And his dead body was like marked. It had this mark of evil on it.
Yes.
Now, following that story was great. Now, Galadriel then, when she's there, she meets up with a friend of hers at one point called Elrond.
Yep.
Now, her friend Elrond, of course, that character's from the movies. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, it's young Elrond. We met him before. He's the father of the character who's in love with Aragorn. I'm like, oh wow, that's great. So my brain is then going, I wonder who Galadriel is then. And I'm not putting this together at all. I've like completely failed as a fan of the Lord of the Rings at this point.
Yeah, mate, I still haven't caught on. So you're above me on this.
Well,
you're about to explain this to me and blow my own mind.
I then realise in Lord of the Rings movies, again, and I told everyone at the start of the program, we're focusing on the movies, not the books.
Yep.
She's the elf of the woods. She is played by Cate Blanchett, I believe. That is Galadriel.
Oh, damn! No.
Yeah, so okay. I'm there going, oh, wow, isn't this amazing? That's Elrond. This is so good that we're getting, a bit of his story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting their story. I'm just totally blown away that I didn't. I mean, I watched 2 episodes of this, and only in a conversation with a friend casually talking about the show, and them saying, oh, it's great seeing like a younger version of Galadriel, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm thinking, what? Yeah.
Don't give it away. I don't know what he's talking about. Don't give it away.
Yeah,
don't give it away.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away. You're supposed to be a smart guy who does podcasts about this kind of thing. Don't give away that you don't know what the hell they're talking about. But yeah, I didn't. So I had to look that up, and there I was. I looked up Lord of the Rings. I looked up Cate Blanchett's character, and there you go, right there in writing. Character name Galadriel.
Nice. Okay, so we are really getting like the backstories.
We are getting a serious backstory. Yes. So. The character of Galadriel, I absolutely love. See, when you get introduced to a new show, a new story and stuff like that, sometimes it can take, for me anyway, it can take a while to really identify with a character or really care about them and their story. We just said then about, 3 episodes and stuff like that. I found the way they told the beginning part of her and her older brother, and the way the story was told, and although quite quickly, kind of flicking through the years, telling us in a very overview, I instantly cared about her quest. Like instantly, I was invested. And when we sort of kind of catch up with her, where she's leading her unit of troops, her elves, on this perilous quest trying to hunt down this evil, I'm kind of like, I can completely understand why her troops are kind of like, look, it's been 2 centuries. We are done. We want to go home. Yeah,
we have followed you a long way, but you know what? Now it's cold.
Yeah, it is cold. It is damn cold, and we are sick to death of this crap. Just let us go home. The war's basically over. What are we still doing? And what I liked about that is because of us getting that initial bit about her character, I think we could completely understand why she was carrying on. And also at the same time, you could completely understand why her soldiers were kind of like, let's go home. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We do get the snow troll scene, which you mentioned. Basically does find a kind of fortress that she'd been hunting for, Fortress of Evil. And they do encounter a snow troll, which is one hell of a fight until Galadriel steps in and basically just ends it beautifully.
Yeah, she's a badass. She is badass.
Absolute badass, which I love, because again, it's kind of, you see these kind of characters and you want them to be, I don't know, you want them to be, tough's not the right word, but just kind of, you want to invest in them for more than just, like, sometimes you get a character who's a badass but has got no personality or backstory, and then other times you get characters who you're really invested in, but that they're kind of a bit wimpy, or it doesn't translate. Like, they'll do something heroic on the screen and you look at it and you go, that doesn't look like it suits you. with Galadriel, and again, I feel like I'm waxing lyrical about this character here, everything fit. Like the emotional aspect with her brother, the quest, the leadership, and then the ability with the sword to take down that snow troll. All of it fit. It just kind of all made sense. None of it looked out of place, which I loved. But her troops do basically, after that encounter, lay down their swords. They're like, no.
Yeah, she's like, right, let's go, we'll march. And they're all like, nah, actually, I'm good. That's enough. Yeah, no, I'm done. See ya.
Yeah, you can either come with us or you can carry on by yourself. But we are going. And that's what she does. She does return, and she's basically Elrond, who's appears to be an old friend. I couldn't quite make my mind up, and let me get your opinion on this. They're clearly old friends. Is there a little chemistry there, or am I imagining that?
That is a one-way, I think they call that. Elrond, I think, it's very much a one-way thing there.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was a little something there. She seems to very much value his opinion, which again is kind of like a respect kind of thing. She clearly is very one-track minded about what she wants to do and wants to achieve. However, she does listen to Elrond. And he's basically been tasked, we learn, with getting her to stand down, getting her to chill out,
Yeah.
And
Enough's enough, love. Yeah.
She is rewarded for her bravery with the chance to return to the elven homelands, to the Undying Lands. And her soldiers are over the moon. They get to go home. And they've been a Middle Earth for centuries.
This confused me a little bit. Because it appears like all of the elves have gone to Middle Earth. Like, everyone they know appears to be in Middle Earth. Because they brought the fight over. So they're all in Middle Earth. Yeah. And it's kind of like, as a reward, you guys are being banished back to the place we used to be from. But not for the last 200 years. And I was kind of like I think... going home. Away from everyone you know.
Well, I think the elf civilization's obviously still back there. I'm guessing the military and everyone left to go and fight this war. But obviously elven cities and stuff are still existing back there.
Yeah.
That's my take anyway. Going back there basically
like a backhanded compliment,
Well, yeah, you go back to just an abandoned city, like, yay, this is awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there's like 6 of us. Oh, they're so cool. The thing, I'll tell you one thing that I did find odd about that is the scene on the ship, which I know comes later on, but we'll jump to it. They're basically going back to these kind of Undying Lands. And it's like a giant gates opening and the rays of sunshine and they're all kind of in awe of it, holding each other's hands. I don't know about you, but I was kind of like watching that thinking, are they dying? Is the Undying Lands basically them going to heaven?
Because that was my thought process. Yeah.
Did you get the same sort of like the imagery in the kind of the bright light and them all kind of like, oh, we're going to go there together. And it kind of felt like any moment now they're all just going to vanish. Now she quite literally jumps ship, and we see the boat just carry on. So it wasn't a case of like it was going to take off into the sky and or nothing like that.
No, but they did all randomly start singing that I thought was really weird. Like,
yeah, but I think that's very elf.
I was like, what is going on?
It felt very elf. Yes. The dwarfs would be drunk at this point.
Yes.
It just felt very kind of...
Okay.
Elves are there to sing. I think the dwarves would sing, but a very different song, like... Hey, bring me another beer. But yeah, so it was kind of... I mean, her literally jumping ship as well, by the way. I was kind of like, how far is this? Middle-earth to the Undying Lands is kind of like foretold, or the way it's been laid out is quite a distance.
Yeah, I'm glad you had that thought as well. Yeah.
It's like, to me, it wasn't like... To me, it's like Europe to the USA. It's like there is a significant gap in there.
And she's just like, I'll swim it. It's fine.
Well, yeah, because you'd think it'd have to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be like, I'm going to send you home. Like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Because if it's that close, you'd be dotting backwards and forwards all the time.
Yeah.
However, she literally jumped ship at the gate to get there. So therefore, she is at her furthest possible point away and swims back. I mean,
against the current as well in some of the shots.
Yeah,
so I am
definitely.
seriously impressed.
I mean, that to me was kind of like, I mean, don't get me wrong, fantasy show, Snow Troll earlier on, but it just that for me, I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of crazy. That's a bit odd. If she'd kind of like grabbed a boat, a rowboat, I'd have still thought, well, she's gonna have arms like tree trunks, but at least she's in a boat.
Yeah.
The idea that she swam day and night to get back to then end up on some beaten up barge.
I've done lifeguard training and stuff, so I've done the whole swimming in your pajamas, and it's not easy to swim in your, and that's in a swimming pool. She's wearing like this long flowing elven gown, and against the current, so she has got my utmost respect.
I need to ask you this actually, because you've done the lifeguard training. In your life, since doing the training that you have to do, because I've done similar, how many times have you been called upon to save a brick from drowning?
In my pyjamas after waking up? None, actually. Yeah.
No, it's weird. It's strange. It's like we trained so heavily for that. I felt that in my life that would be more of a bigger deal. I felt like I'd be walking down the road one day and they'd be like, oh my God,
yes,
the brick is drowning. And I'd be like, wait there, let me get my jimmer jammers and I'll be there to save it. It's just not happened.
Nope, not yet.
Strange. Very strange. But yeah, so moving on, we've got another character who's been quite interesting. Now, again, I'm probably going to butcher this, Arundor, or Arondir. Now, Arondir is an elf soldier who we meet basically doing a patrol.
Yes.
He goes into like a human village, and you get some tension there where humans and elves clearly they feel like they're under the elf boot, if you like, rather than being protected or fighting alongside.
Not fans.
No, clearly not. But a lot of them are just kind of like happy in their lives. They're kind of not giving him any trouble and just kind of speaking to him. And also, he doesn't react. You know, he's provoked but doesn't get involved. Which I quite liked that. I quite liked his character was just cold to that. Just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm literally protecting your dumb ass from orcs, so bite me. And so, I kind of felt that was quite good. What was a little interesting was there's a human healer there called Bronwyn. There's a little I think there's a little love there. There's a little bit of attraction between the two, which seems to be getting Bronwyn somewhat shunned by her fellow humans in the village, and him basically choosing to hang around because the elves are being withdrawn. They've made the decision the war is over. So the soldiers that were manning a tower and a wall, they're all celebrating. They're like, oh, we're done. We're going. You know, this is great. But he's not so happy about it. He obviously clearly likes Bronwyn and wants to stay. We see him have some discussions and learn about some crops that have died. We then see him come across a cow that had managed to get at those crops, and the milk from the cow is not good. You're not gonna, you're not gonna want to drink that. The milk has
turned into like tar. Yeah, it was very weird.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good at all. So he wants to investigate, and when he goes to investigate, he finds that his village has basically been destroyed and there's no bodies. They find what looks like a tunnel underneath the village, and they've come up. So these are trolls / orcs, and they've just taken everyone. Which I think they're being eaten. I don't know exactly, but basically it's not going to be a good way to go. It's not going to be.
No, the
nice.
fact that they left the sheep and took the people tells me it's not good.
It's not going to be a good thing. And obviously he identifies, look, I need to go into this tunnel. It is my responsibility to track this down. Bronwyn, get your ass back to the village, because if you're looking at where this tunnel's heading and the direction, the village is in trouble.
And your bratty little child needs your help. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to come on to that little git in a minute. But she gets back to the village, and of course no one's interested. No one cares. No one's like, oh, shut up, Bronwyn. When you go, shag your elf that you love. Basically people are really not that enamored with her, it would appear, even though she's the healer. And I would think that would be the one person in the village you want to be mates with.
You would think so.
She does have a son. Yeah, now she does have a son, and the son's a typical little teenage dirtbag. He's messing about with a mate, and they uncover under some floorboards of a building something that's been hidden away. And it seems to be the hilt of a sword.
Yes. Now I recognise this sword.
Well, the hilt of this sword has the emblem that we saw branded on Galadriel's brother.
Yes.
So we know bad guy sword.
Yep.
Bad guy sword.
Bad guy sword. Yep.
And the little idiot is messing about with it. And he then is back in his hut later on, and he thinks there's rats under the floor. So he starts smashing at the floor, thinking, go away, animal, look how tough I am. Only to reveal there's a friggin' orc under there. The tunnel has led to this village.
Looking through the floorboard, yeah.
Yeah. Did you, a bit of a jump scare. That got me. But yeah, the orcs are there. Bronwyn and the kid are basically hiding. There's just one at the moment trying to sniff them out. And it does go for the boy. It does really go for him. And I don't know whether perhaps they are sensing that sword.
I don't know. It was either that or the fact that he stabbed him in the back with a pair of what looked like shearing scissors.
That'd do it. Yeah, that'd annoy you. Could have
just pissed him off.
Yeah. To be fair, I think you could actually be right. I think the simpler explanation on that one is probably the correct one.
Yeah.
But they do just... Yeah. The pair of them do just about overcome, and she chops the thing's head off. It's kind of brutal, and then she goes and throws it down on the bar as well, which I loved. Like, I'm leaving. I suggest you all leave with me. And one of the very next scenes is you see them packing up, and the whole village is leaving. Like the hill is just full of people. Like, nope, time to go.
Yeah, she's right. We're out.
Yeah. Oh, I always thought Bronwyn was the smart one, didn't you? We see her packing up her stuff, and her little git of a kid is taking the sword.
The weird sword that has now grown. Well. Like, the sword has got bigger because of his blood being, like, drawn from his hand towards it and stuff. And I'm like, we already knew it was a bad guy sword, but now it's using blood. It's a big bad guy sword.
It cannot be good, can it? It's like...
No.
It's like finding some sort of evil thing. Like, you pick it up and it goes, evil. You know, it's like, ooh, I know what I'll do. I'll put that in my backpack. No, you dumbass.
Yeah.
But yes, he is doing that, and he carries on. Arondir, like we said, is basically tracking through the tunnel. So whether he's going to come across the whole group of them or whether he's just going to re-emerge at some point, I don't know. I mean, I hope he re-emerges. I was getting quite interested in him. It'd be very sad if that was it. It was done. Moving about a little bit again, let's talk about Elrond visiting the dwarves. He's been tasked by the ruler of the elves to help one of the great minds to create a forge.
Yeah, go on, say his name.
No. I'm not even going to try. And this great guy takes him to meet the dwarves. He's kind of like, I've got a friend who's a dwarf. Trust me, these are the people. You need this built? These are the people we need to go and see. Trust me on this. And he goes there, and he says, we're going to be eating and drinking. It's going to be amazing. And he basically gets told to F off in no uncertain terms whatsoever.
I'm here to see him. Nope. Oh.
Yeah, he's like, no, go away. Tell him it's his friend. Yeah, he said, bite me.
Pretty much, yeah.
So he invokes this kind of dwarven tradition so he can get through the door. He tells this guy, go back to where we were. I'll come and meet you. Don't worry, this will all be fine. His friend is Prince Durin, Prince Durin the Fourth. Now, what's interesting is, if I'm right, Prince Durin's son, or Prince Durin's grandson, rather, is the dwarf in the Fellowship of the Ring. Gimli, yeah. So his son is Gloin. Gimli, son of Gloin, part of the House of Durin. the dynasty. Now, I could be wrong, and people who are smarter with this might be screaming at me right now. But I think I'm right. I think I'm right. So what we do see is basically he believes his friend is treating him like he doesn't really care for him or know him. He does this challenge where they have to break rocks, and eventually he quits, even though he seemed to be doing okay. It felt kind of like he quit to save his friend's blushes more than anything else. Yeah. And Durin's like, yeah, I'll kick you out myself. And we actually have what I think is quite an interesting little bit of dialogue, because what I liked about it is the fact that one of the things you kind of learn from reading Lord of the Rings and stuff is every character in race has their own kind of things, and the elves are seen as very arrogant. Yeah. And I think the main reason for that is because of how much time they have. So, like, for them, they're not worried about, oh, this is going to take 100 years. Okay. Fine, whatever. That's everything. And basically, Durin has not seen Elrond for 20 years. Now, to Elrond, and Durin even says this to him, that might be the blink of an eye for an elf. But in that time, I've got married. I've had children. You were supposed to be my friend, and where have you been? And I love that. I love that kind of little bit of perspective, because it completely takes Elrond back. You can kind of see him reeling like, oh, wow, yeah, 20 years, I suppose, for you is a long time. To me, I was busy. And it's just such a different perspective on time, and I loved that. I really enjoyed that kind of interesting thing. He does kind of thaw a little bit and wants to introduce him to his wife. And at this point is where there's a little bit of controversy. Yeah. See, Gimli once said dwarven women had beards like the men, so people can't tell the difference.
Yes, she has got sideburns,
but none of the women have beards.
No, I actually made this comment to my wife whilst we were watching it.
Yeah.
I said about, there's no bearded women. And she looked at me and went, what? And I was like, it's well known. You can never tell the difference between a man, a woman, dwarf, because they all have beards the same. And she kind of looked at me as if I was mental. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
No. You're absolutely right. Now, I can only... one or two things. One is some of the women perhaps decide to shave the beards, which, like human women, some shave their bits, some do not. Or Gimli was taking the piss, which is also infinitely possible.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of like, all the women have beards and the men have, like, we're really 10 foot tall, but we slouch. Sort of dumb thing he'd come out with. But yeah, I don't know. It was different. It was interesting. Now, we do meet, and I love the fact that he's like Prince Durin the Fourth. He is the heir. He is in charge, but he is not in charge in his own house. And that felt kind of amusing. Like, the wife is just like...
his wife is so in charge. Yeah,
so lovely to meet you. It's so great. And he's like, he's not staying. Yes, he is. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's already been told, you don't make, no reminiscing, you say hello and you leave. Yeah, that is it. Done.
And she's like, you're staying for dinner. Not hearing anything else.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. Oh, okay.
I loved the interaction. I really enjoyed those scenes. I'm enjoying seeing this version of Elrond as well, because of course I think the version we see in Lord of the Rings, he's more jaded. I think his kind of view of the world has been somewhat disparaged by another century of experience, I guess. But this, he's like one of these. He genuinely thinks Durin's one of his best friends. Like, and you wouldn't imagine that in the older version, Lord of the Rings. You wouldn't imagine him having a dwarf as a friend. So it's interesting. I'm loving that, and he seems quite genuine in his friendship with him, and he talks to him about his proposal, and he leaves at this point. Now, Durin takes it to his father, who seems to... There's something going on, and I didn't really follow what was going on. Like, his father was kind of like, oh, you think he just showed up here and it was a coincidence? And then he opens like a box and something shiny. Now, the dwarves are kind of very, ooh, shiny. They are the magpies of the Middle-earth races.
Yeah.
But did you follow what was going on in that, or do you think this is kind of like setting up for us to learn more?
I'm hoping it's setting us up to learn more, because I'm just like, oh, shiny bucks.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks the elf is going to try and steal the shiny bucks?
It's like they found something and they think the elves have shown up to take it. Like, it's, which would be about right for the dwarves and the elves and their relationship. But so that's that kind of story. The next thing, or probably the last thing I want to talk about really or mention, is the Harfoots.
I have a really quick, interesting story about these.
Bring it on.
So my wife Natalie, her best friend has a daughter named Eleanor, spelt the exact same way and actually named after this character from Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She said her daughter's, she's 9 or 10 years old. And she's always said, she's named after Lord of the Rings. And I'm always sat there going, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli,
I do not know
Samwise.
any of these. Yeah.
Nope. I am not aware
I
of
do
an
not
Eleanor.
know.
No idea. And the show started, and it was always Nori. Nori do this, Nori do that. Nori. And I hadn't even clicked. It was only last night when we were watching episode 2. And she texted her friend to say, we've just finished the second episode. She went, now you know where her name comes from. And we've looked at each other and gone, aye?
Do we? Yeah.
Nori, Eleanor, it's spelt the same. That's why we named her. And I'm like, oh, geek.
Yeah. That's, you are a level of nerd I aspire to be. Well done. Yes.
Yeah.
So the Harfoots are kind of like a pre-Hobbits. It feels to me like the Harfoots are like a nomadic tribe who are constantly on the move, hiding. Whereas the Hobbits settle in the Shire. Yeah. So I think the Harfoots are kind of like the prerequisite, and basically at some point they're going to become or part of them are going to become the Hobbits because they settle in one place. That's my thinking behind
That's what I'm thinking of it. Yeah.
They're kind of fun, much like the Hobbits. They're a little bit of the comic relief, if you like, with some of the interactions and stuff. Seeing Lenny Henry in this was very odd for me.
You say comic relief, and there is an actual stand-up comic playing the main one
from Comic Relief, one of the founders. Yeah, so it was odd. That was odd for me. But the main storyline that's going on there is that we see this kind of shooting star meteorite slam into the ground, and a couple of the Harfoots go and investigate. And it's a man.
The Stranger.
The man is called officially on IMDb The Stranger.
Now, if you watch on Amazon and you pause it at any point, it comes up with a little X-ray bit with all like the names of the people.
Oh yeah.
So I actually paused it with him on the screen, like, come on, tell me who the hell this guy. Oh, The Stranger. Bugger. Right. Okay.
I'm kind of glad because I think. I don't know. I'm looking at him visually, and I'm thinking, this is Gandalf. This is a young Gandalf. But that feels far too obvious now. It's like I'm kind of like saying it, and then there's, like I mentioned at the start of the podcast, there's a lot of very good content creators out there telling me I'm absolutely wrong.
Yeah. See, I went the other way. I went Sauron. Yeah, Sauron.
Yeah.
That is who I went to first of all. I was like, oh, it's a young version of him. Oh, wow. That's where I went.
Okay. Well, that would be equally interesting.
So we've both gone to polar opposite ends of who this guy could be.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully it'd be revealed. Because in my head I was thinking he looks like, the way he's quite tall, angry, everything. And you can imagine that. And also he had a real love for hobbits. Yes. And if from the first moment and memories in Middle-earth he was being helped by Harfoots, hobbits, that could explain his love and affection for them. So that's why I went Gandalf. That was my kind of thinking. You're thinking he landed, lots of fire, bad, evil, looks confused, but clearly got a real temper to him as well. Like when the other Harfoot walks up and he's like, seems to be ready to kill her.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, whoa, okay, easy, tiger. He does like this bit of magic with the fireflies, and all the fireflies die. So I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But these are questions. They're questions that are going to be interesting to get answered. Like I said, there's the storyline with the dwarfs and Elrond. There's a storyline with Galadriel, obviously, Bronwyn and Arondir, and obviously this with the Harfoots and the Strangers. So there is a lot going on. And after 2 episodes, I am interested and I am keen to watch the 3rd episode. But yeah, I mean, are there any other bits and pieces that you picked out from watching the 2 episodes you wanted to discuss?
Not so much, just more of kind of what you just said there. Like, there is a lot going on.
Oh, massive.
I know, like, episode 1 was 66 minutes, episode 2 was 68 minutes, so we could have had an entire movie at this point.
Yeah, and
God, there is just
they've not.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, they've not spared any expense. The length of the episodes, the visuals, the cast, it is epic in scale and it is epic in storytelling. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a bit slow. No, it's building. This is an 8-episode story building.
And if you look at the actual original, like, Lord of the Rings trilogy, how much of that trilogy was building, and then you had the Battle of Helm's Deep, and it was like, whoa! And then it was back to building again. So, yeah, it's going to be a case. If it is if we're looking at it, say, as an 8-hour movie, for example, a lot of those 8 hours are going to be plot building, character interactions, learning the characters. Yeah. So you've got to expect it. Like, I think I messaged you after the first one and said, look, I struggled a bit through that. It felt very, very long, and a lot is happening. And you said to me, it was like, mate, Lord of the Rings, it is long. And I'm like, fair point. Fair point. It
is very detailed. There are characters. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to episode 3. I'm hoping again, that we will see further development. I mean, the thing that worries me a little bit is like adding more characters, because like I'm kind of like I'm at my limit. I'm like we've already got like 4 to 5 branches of a story being told. Please don't in episode 3 go, okay, now here's 5 new characters. Like, no, no, please continue. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to
cross-eyed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to talking about it again with you when we get a chance, hopefully next week. So yeah, a big thank you to everybody for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back to discuss episode 3 with you really soon. Until then, everybody, you all take care.
That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.